Hi everybody, it's Bonkai922! Holy shit! Holy shit! Okay, I need to say something. You know what? They can have 50 million plot holes in Sword Art Online. And you know what I'd still say? Still love it. Still love it. Okay, this episode was insane. The ending, oh, fuck. It was good. Now, I had been waiting and waiting. I mean, like, episode 1, we saw her. Then for the last, let's see, 2, 3, 4, we don't see her at all. And now we finally get her, Asuna. Now, but as we know, as we last saw Asuna, she was with Kirito, and they were forming this team on, like, the first level to defeat this boss, and they went on and move on. We saw him saying, oh, you're really strong, you should join a guild, and go for the, brass ring. She did, and this starts off basically, I wrote notes, because there's so many things going on in this show that I had to write notes to keep track. We have, the beginning is on floor 56, known as Penny. That's the name of the floor. And this is when he first encounters the Blood Knight. I believe they're called the Blood Knights, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong. Let me before I do anything, go and research this. I'll sort it out online, because, this show, it has, just, the ending of this episode was like, fuck, I want to say fuck me, because it is just unfreaking believable. So, yeah, I'm trying to look. I don't see anything. Okay. Okay. So I don't see anything about, along those lines of the blood. They're called like the Blood Knights, I believe. Blood Knights. It's a guild that she joined, and she's like the top. When I mean top, she's like the vice commander of the guild. And they're deciding this plan that they're going to do for this operation, and Kirito cannot agree with Asuna. He's totally, like, always butting heads with her, saying, oh, this is not right, I'm not going to deal with this, I can't go with this plan. And then we got Ergil, that's his name, Ergil, this black guy, bald head. He's a merchant, big friends, big time friends with Kirito. And he's like, oh, why are you always butting heads with her? And it doesn't seem like we can get along. And later on, it turns out to be something else from that situation. So moving right along, we go from level floor 56 to floor 59, which is Danak. And Danak is basically, Kirito's there, and he's sleeping, and he's resting, and here's Asuna busting his chops. She's like, we're supposed to go to the dungeon and deal with this and find a way to win, and he says, and he's like, no. And he says, you should just rest and feel the sun and the wind on your face, because it feels really good and everything. And you should just, he's basically telling her, take it easy. Take a chill pill, take it easy. So, oh man, this is, I was waiting for her to show up again. And then she decides to take a nap, and literally, she was sleeping, and she's sleeping and everything, and he's there, just waiting, and it's like the sun's going down. She wakes up, and there's this piece of grass on her face, and she's drooling, and she's waking up, and she realizes she fell asleep this entire time. She gets up, she's just drawing her sword and shit, and saying, and she's like, fine, well, I'll take you out to she says dinner or food. I'll take you out to dinner. Now we're even. So that was the whole bit on that. And they basically then they go to floor 57, Martin, and they go and eat. And, they have a conversation about, she says thank you because there are times, and that's what the focal point of this episode is going to be, about players sleeping. Players who sleep in the world of Sword Art Online, they have a very great risk of being attacked and dying. Because anyone could just, simple as that. And that's the whole bit on that. Now, while they're eating, they hear a scream. Ah! So they're wondering what's going on. So they investigate. Now, their relationship, Asuna and Kirito, it's going to get really close. Really close. After this episode and the next episode, it's going to get really close, really tight, and they're going to build on it. Now, they find out that somebody was killed. And all they see is this guy hanging from a rope, and a spear and a sword is stuck in him. So Asuna's running up. She says, "Oh, go catch him!" And Kirito's below and says he's about to take out the sword, and he just dies right there. Now we find out later on, after Asuna comes down, he starts talking to these people and saying, "Oh, who saw the duel? Was this a duel? Because if it's a duel, then it was obviously a winner." And they find that out. But it wasn't a duel, and no one knew who the winner was. It wasn't a duel, basically. And apparently, one person saw what happened. We find out, she tells her name to Kirito and Asuna. It's this girl named Yoruko. Yoruko. And she says that she was having a dinner with this guy not too long ago. I was like, what the? And the guy's name is Kains. Kains, as Kains. And basically he was killed. And she doesn't really know the specifics, and she can't really tell them, Kirito and Asuna, why the person wanted to kill him. So that's all they get on in that. So they escort her back to her room, and stuff, and then they're talking to each other. And Asuna, man, I like her. She's feisty. She is. I like her. I like her character. But most importantly, the relationship between Kirito and Asuna. It's going to get really big, really quickly. He's trying to say what to call her. He says, Miss, Vice Commander, Flash, Lightning, Sama. And he says, just call me Kirito. Just call me Asuna. She's got the hots for him. I tell you right now, oh man, it's just like, damn. So then after that situation's been resolved, they go to floor 50. Because he was asking her about any merchants that she knew that might help us with the situation, identifying the killer and everything, and she doesn't know any. And says, okay, then I know somebody. Let's go to floor 50. They go to floor 50, known as Arcade, and they meet up with, like I said, Kirito's big-time friend, Urgel. He's this black guy with a bald head, and he's a merchant, and he's going to bring the weapon there for him to identify and everything. And when he gets in there and he sees the girl, Asuna, he's scolding him like this, like, Kirito, like, I thought you and her don't get along very well. And she's making a face like, it was so funny. I tell you what, this show is going to get good now. It's going to get better. Now it's going to get better. Now it's going to get good. So he's examining the weapon, Urkel, and he realizes that it's a player-made weapon. Like a player made this weapon. That's like, holy shit. and he finds out the name of the person who made the weapon was Grimrock, and the weapon name is called Guilty Throne. At one point, he takes the weapon, Kirito, and he proceeds to try to stab himself with it. And she grabs his hands like, "Are you crazy? Don't do that! You know, you shouldn't be doing that. We'll never know. You don't do that!" She's basically telling him that. And, you know, she doesn't want... She's... You know, okay? And she's like this. She's like demanding, you know? Like, hey. Like, she's like the alpha male or something. I really like this relationship. It's getting really good. So, anyway, from there, what ends on happening is they then decide to further... They found out the name and everything, and they interview Yuruko again. But this time they tell her about the weapon and says, "Do you know this person named Grimrock?" And her face was like... Oh, she was light up like, holy shit, I know something. This episode was, like I said before, and by the way, that's right, 5 out of 5. Deal with it. Anyway, moving right along. She basically tells them the story of Grimrock, that he was in our guild, known as Golden Apple. And the leader of the guild was named Griselda. Griselda. She was a sword woman. And she was the leader of the group. And what happened was, there were like 7 members after... I think like 8 members of this guild. And basically what happened was, after they defeated a monster, they had gotten an item, a ring. For a ring that would give you 20 plus agility. And they were just voting on it, around the group, what we should do with the ring. Well, it was decided they were going to sell it. Now, the person, I think it was, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think Grimrock was Griselda's husband? Or it was Schmidt. It was either this guy Schmidt or Grimrock was Griselda's husband. Because you can be husband and wife in this game. It's like, really? You can. It's just, it's not real life, you know, but you can have a life in the game with being a husband and wife. Anyway, I didn't even do that in regular games. Anyway, moving right along. What happened was Griselda was going to get the ring sold. So she left. She never came back. She never came back, and everyone was wondering what was going on. Now, the 3 people who wanted the ring to get sold were Schmidt, Yuruko, and Keynes. Now, what ends on happening is, after hearing this situation, you know, they decide to leave her, and thinking this through, Kirito is thinking, with Asuna, there are only 3 possibilities. 1, it was a fair duel. 2, something else. And 3 is like they used an item or something to do this. And he's like, that can't be right either. Now, he tells them, oh, I know Schmidt. Before this, he had this conversation with Kirito. He said to Yuriko that he knew Schmidt and everything, and so on and so forth, and that he knows him, and they'll get in contact with him so they can tell him. So they get a hold of Schmidt, and they start talking to him and telling him what happened. And let me just say why I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. Just, it was insane. Those 2, Schmidt and Yuruko, they went crazy. They were like, ah! They were like going insane. They were really out of their minds because it's like, oh, he's like looking at her. She was looking at Yuruko. You don't want to die like this, do you? Do you? She's like, she's saying that the reason why who's doing this is Griselda. It's a ghost. That's what's her reasoning. That's a ghost doing this. And as she's doing this, she's freaking out and everything. And out of nowhere, we hear this like a stabbing motion thing. And then she's like, and she turns around and there's a knife in her back. And you see the face of Schmidt, you see the face of Kirito, you see the face of Asuna, and I'm like, holy shit. So, and then she falls and she dies. I'm like, this is such a crazy episode. Just that. I'm losing it, man. I'm like, I know this. Listen. Okay. Plot holes. You know what? I don't give a fuck. How about that? How about that? I don't give a shit. I know there's plot holes, but really think about this. Okay. There are plot holes. That's understandable. But let me ask you a question. Do you really think it's... I mean, I can see it being a big deal, but let's be honest here. You can't argue, you can't disagree with how that ended, that episode. That episode was great. That episode was freaking awesome. It was awesome. That whole situation. I think it was epic. I think... Because I remember some people telling me, it's going to get dark. It's going to get dark. It's going to get crazy. They were right. And I'm like, holy shit. Now, next episode is called... This one was called Crime Within the Walls. Next one's going to be called Illusionary Avenger. This is some dark shit, man. I'm like it's... I said it before. Sword Art Online, good show. Great show. Some people are going to say, plot holes. Listen, the only people who are allowed, this is my opinion, this is what I believe, the only people who are allowed to say plot holes are the ones who've read the novel. If you've read the light novel of Sword Art Online, you can say plot holes. If you've never read the light novel from the beginning to where it is now, how can you say that? I mean, you haven't read it. But I'm giving this show a chance because of Asuna, because of Kirito, because of what's going on here with them intermingling, and because it seems like Asuna's like, she's putting him in his place. You're not going to be depressed on my watch. No, siree. That is the reason why I'm interested in giving this. That's one of the reasons why I'm giving this a high rating. Another reason, the ending. That was just like, oh my god. Like a ghost? Just out of nowhere. BONG! She falls down. She's dead. I'm like, oh, man. But this has been Bankai 922. Actually had to write notes. Check this show out. This show's getting really fucking awesome. I support it 100%. Not many more reviews to do tonight. Not to get off topic here. Just One Piece. One Piece. I'm in the process of doing the next verses. Urza versus Chiffon. Should be interesting. Besides that, there's really nothing going on here. There's, nothing really going on. But this has been Bankai 922. I'll see you guys later. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I'm going to say it right now. Tomorrow night, I'm doing a live stream. That's right. Live stream. Tomorrow night. Okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to set it for like maybe, I'm going to say, not to get off topic here, late, like 11. We'll say I'll start it midnight. Be there or be square, midnight. Midnight, I'm doing a live stream about something that happened. I'll get into details later of it. Okay, not to get off topic. But, like I said, Bankai 922, Sword Art Online. For the motherfucking win! Get on this shit, people. Asuna. Yeah, she's my kind of character. See,